It has been raining, raining, raining. As a matter of fact, one day it was raining so hard, my neighbors were measuring over an inch per hour. That is kind of cool. I was driving by Stevens Creek Reservoir and I saw this coming out of the side of the hill. Must be a caverns or something in there. I'm gonna have to go back when this isn't. It doesn't have water coming out of it, but that just blew my mind. So on to the job. This was a failure due to the storm that we had, and it's a double top redwood. Has two tops. So the question about safety on double top redwoods is something a lot of people have asked me over the years. Is my tree safe? They'll have two tops up there, and clearly a double top redwood has got some weaknesses. It fell down, hit the neighbor's house, and interestingly, that spot on the deck there, that's the only damage other than I think it damaged the rain gutter down low. It wasn't even the rain gutter, it was one of the offshoots to the rain gutter. So they're asking me now, is the remaining portion of the tree safe? Well, let's look at this. Let's look at it closely. You can see, that's... Well, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to put it back together so that it's going to be just as good as new. Well, water will flow through it anyway. Back to the subject. This tree has been weakened for a long time, and you can tell by evidence of the active tissue that's been growing up around it. So this tree likely split open several years ago, and water has been infiltrating down into this union, this double top. And during the windstorms, the tops were blowing and separating, and water was getting in. And you can see the darkness here. That's a significant weakness that has been working its way down into this section of the tree. So clearly, a double top redwood can be dangerous. It can be a big problem. But the big however is I see them all over the place. I see them everywhere, and I can't condemn every double top redwood, but they should at least be looked at. So let's get back to whether or not that remaining portion is safe. What do you do about it? Well, clearly you've got to go up there and inspect it. But because that side is a little bit bigger and because it's leaning away from the house and because there's nothing down there, I think I'm going to advise them just to leave it alone. And if it does break, well, it's not going to cause too much damage. That's what I put down. But if you guys run into a situation, especially the certified arborists and the consulting arborists and the people that are viewing this channel that are also in the business, if you have a double top redwood tree and the client asks you, what do you do? What would you say? Now, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of different comments on here, and this is where the comments are going to be interesting to read. You know, you're going to put your comment down and then go read what other people say. Got a big double top redwood tree in a backyard, potential for damaging something. What do you do? I'm going to leave that one up to you. There was this pitch that had hardened up inside, that yellow pitch. It's kind of an odd color, and it wasn't sticky at all. It was almost like a hardened resin, which I think was kind of interesting. Also, look at the density of the wood there. That was a very old tree. Okay, when we're talking about removing fallen trees, the loaded trees can be a real hazard. So I'm being very careful with this one. It's not a huge tree, but if I've got any of these limbs that are under pressure and I cut them, they can snap back and hit me or, you know, really cause some severe damage to my body. So I always talk to people about, you know, the hazards of fallen trees, and when you have all these branches that have got a tension, a load on them, it can be really, really dangerous. As a matter of fact, I had to get down up underneath it, and there was one branch, I didn't have my camera out, but it snapped back hard. That's where it fell, and that's what I fixed. I put the fence back together for them. There's agrifolia along the side yard, and it clearly has pushed the retaining wall over there. There's quite a drop on the other side. I think it's about a 4-foot drop. We've got a basement that was installed over here. Goes down quite a bit with foundations and such over here, so very likely roots were severed over on that side. The homeowner indicated that the tree was moving in the wind. It does look like it's rather abrupt into the ground, so it may have some basal crown rot. I'd have to excavate it to determine it, but the height of the tree is about 45 feet. It is hanging over the structure. Access is a real pain. Might be easier to go out the neighbor's property. The foliage on the tree looks very good. They have to replace this retaining wall, and in doing so, they will very likely destabilize the root system on that side of the tree. Access to get this thing out of here is a real pain. Looks like they've got a great big generator in the most inopportune place. We've only got about 16 inches of access to get a cart in here, so the wood, getting the wood out of here is going to be really, really hard to cut them into little tiny pieces. A long driveway that we could very likely back the truck and chipper all the way up to there, so the chipping part wouldn't be too bad, but the wood would be a challenge. And the neighbor's property, access on this side is also very, very tight. Here's a tree from this side. I don't know how old the pool is, but very likely caused damage to the roots on that side if they put the pool in after the tree. It's pretty clear that the wall is falling down. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Come here. Hello. All right, anyway, I look at it, this job's going to be terrible. Can't drop anything on this side. Everything's got to be roped down over on that side or speed lined over to the lawn here. Long haul, either way you look at it. And as I was driving out, I encountered this redwood tree. I believe it was pruned by Dr. Seuss himself. On to another job this week. We had a very large southern magnolia. This tree's got a lot of problems. It was just full of deadwood. I believe it's got Botrytis or something. That kind of looks similar to what I've seen on plants that have Botrytis, but there was so much deadwood. Everywhere you looked up in this tree, there were small bits of dead. Some of the branches just barely had any life left on them. And our job was to make the tree better. Well, there's only so much you can do when you have a diseased tree. And we did bring it to the client's attention. Look at that, that's the branch after I cut it off, and it's still showing signs of the infestation that's leading down into the main trunk. So what do? Do I take the whole branch off? Well, that would leave a huge hole up here, and I don't want to do that. So I don't think there's any fixing a tree that has a big serious problem. They had this little tree house at the bottom, which was kind of interesting. The guy did a really good job of building the tree house, but didn't allow for any growth of the tree. So this tree house is going to self-destruct. He also put it into the tree in quite a few harsh locations. Got to check the base of the tree, got to check for fungus, got to check for issues. But this little tree house in here, I don't know how old it was, doesn't look ancient. You know, the fact that the wood looks so good, they built it very, very tight all the way around. Like I say, I'm impressed with the craftsmanship, but the forethought for the tree growing was not part of the equation. Maybe it's just a temporary tree house for some kids that are going to grow out of it in no time, then they'll take it down. I don't know. I like tree houses. I really do. I think they're fun. And this guy put some creative efforts into it to use branches and things, and they're all screwed on all the way around. And I don't know whether he had a tarp or something over these branches from the tree. But anyway, that's what is going on up there. The foliage is turning brown like that, and then the branches and the twigs are completely dying. But we took a mountain of dead out of this tree. We worked on this tree all day long, and this is what it looks like at the end of the day. It looks presentable. It looks way, way better, but you know, looks are deceiving. We know there's an issue up here, and we know that this tree is in a state of serious decline. But you know, as long as we alert the client to what's going on, it is what it is. Also saw this on the way home. This is beautiful. This is a different type of a Magnolia solangiana, and they are deciduous magnolias, and the flowers come out first. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And here's another failure that I went and looked at. This is a European olive, and a big section of it fell down. I found it kind of interesting that it went right across the hammock. Can you imagine lazing around in a hammock and all of a sudden having that thing come falling down on you? Wow! And because of all the rain, I've been looking at a lot of really interesting and beautiful saprophytic fungal organisms, mushrooms, growing on wood. And that centerpiece there, that's an oyster mushroom. And this one down here is a jack-o'-lantern. This is a picture I took today of a fungus, I don't know what it is, on a Douglas fir. And I have no idea what this one is. You know, as I drive around and do these little jobs, I also stop and spot things during my days and time during the week. I usually put my video together for a Saturday morning, so you get a kind of a compilation of the things I run into during my week. Now, I find this stuff fascinating. I am so intrigued by all the amazing things that I run into and the things I see, as well as the interesting situations that we have to deal with, you know, the trees that have fallen down, or, you know, the hazard situations, or just, you know, trees in decline. So I hope you guys enjoy this stuff, and please help me out. Share my channel, and if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. But, you know, more than anything, write me some comments. I read all the comments. I read as many of them as I can anyway, and I answer as many as I can. So if you have questions or just want to talk about something, drop me a line. Thanks.